It's a choice. It's not a daily activity like you're just constantly thinking, be present, be present, be present. No, your mind's like spinning like a hamster wheel. It's a choice. Just like I choose to go to the gym, I push myself to go and be there at that moment in time. I have to say the same thing when it comes to being present. That means silencing my phone or putting it somewhere really far away where I'm not touching it, and just being in the moment, not thinking about things. It's a choice. I'm actively
Mm.
making that choice.
Mm. I love how simple you just made that for us because oftentimes we think, oh, I need to do all these 5,000 things in order to be able to be present, but it's simply just a choice.
Because every day that we get to live on this earth um, should be taken with a bunch of gratefulness and happiness and feeling all of this. And when it's flowing through me, which everybody has had times of money flowing through them, that you can't just let that be your metric for success. It's got to be in the mind of like, what else is out there? Your family, your health, your friendships, all of those things are metrics for success.
Welcome back to the podcast. We have a amazing interview for you today. A new friend that I'm connected to through the Amplify Your Life Growth Summit. So he will be there. So if you want to know more about our guest today, Bobby Samai, who is the founder of Ion Bottles, you have to get your cheeks in the sea at the Growth Summit. Link is in the show notes for that. But without further ado, welcome Bobby to the podcast.
Thank you, Carmen. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So I always like to do these rapid fire questions at the beginning, just to people to kind of like fill you out, get to know you, that sort of thing. So why don't you tell us where did you grow up and where did you live? Where do you live now?
Sure. I grew up mostly in Southern California in a small town called El Segundo, California. And today I live in Albany area, basically Albany, Oregon.
Okay, and that's
Yeah.
where I grew up. So look at that connection that we have. Tell us about your family there.
I have a wife, Christy, and I have two children, Parker, who's 5, and my daughter, Avery, who's 3.
Those are the funnest ages.
It's kind of
So
crazy right
let's
now.
see.
Yeah.
Okay, 5 is still fun. 3 is like asking why for everything. Why? Why?
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Is Avery into that? Why? Why?
She is actually my little sweetheart. It's Parker right now who's testing us. Even at 5, he wants to listen, but he keeps wanting to push the boundary just a little bit.
I loved those ages. At that age, at 5, I remember my daughter, she couldn't help it. Every time we'd go to the store and like be clothes shopping, she had to like touch all the bras. I have no
Yeah.
idea what it was the thing with the bras. Like, stop touching all the bras. What are you
They just want to touch stuff. I get it. Yeah.
doing?
I was like that as a kid too.
Yeah, but then I think about it now, and I was like, was I stunting her curiosity? As we get older, we kind of lose our dreaming and our
Yeah.
curiosity and our sense of adventure and fun and like aliveness. And so it's like, oh, maybe that wasn't the best thing. Maybe I should have let her touch more bras. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. That reminds me of what Mr. Rogers says from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, that to be a kid, remind yourself what it was like to be a kid, and try to be that to your kids, to give them that.
I love that a lot. I love that so much. Okay, more rapid fire questions. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
Let's see. I had a protein shake from Bentley's Coffee, which is great. And then I had this morning, my wife made some protein pancakes.
Oh, does she have a secret recipe that you'd want to share with us? Do you know what it is?
I honestly don't even know what's in it. I know she adds some stuff to the Kodiak cakes, but it's that plus I think she added bananas,
Okay.
some other kind of chunks of something. It was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds really good. I used to be stuck on sweet potato protein pancakes. So like you
Mm,
cook up sweet potatoes
mhm.
and then I would add one egg white, a scoop of protein, cinnamon. It's been a while, like baking powder and salt or something, and then zhuzh that up like in the blender, and it makes like 3 like of the most delicious pancakes because of like the cinnamon and the sweet
Yeah.
potato stuff. I haven't made that in a long time. I want to make that
Now you got to
now
make
that
that tomorrow.
I'm talking about it. I know. Now I need to make it. Um, so if you were to recommend another quick fire question here, a book to be in every library, and some people have a hard time picking just one book. So, what is one book that you're really loving right now, or that you've really loved in the past, maybe a couple, that you'd want to recommend for our listeners?
I mean, the book that stands out to me for me as a entrepreneur and business owner is a book called Raving Fans. I'm not. Let me see. I'm not sure if it's by who it's by. I thought I had it next to me, but Raving Fans really puts out there the message that you want to create from your customers a ability to tell everybody about your business or your company, and what you offer. And to do that, you create empowerment in your employees or whoever's communicating with your customers, the ability to create these raving fans, and in all aspects, from what kind of experience they had walking through the door, to the bill, to the experience they have after they're done. So creating raving fans really helped me build the business to where it is today, or to put myself in a life of creating the ability to create that business.
I love that so much. It's not that we're building clients or customers. I always say that. It's like we're building advocates.
Mm-hmm.
Because people love what we have to offer so much that they tell other people about it. I love that. Raving fans, that's so perfect. I'm along those same lines too. Is one of the success measurements that I've used for the past decade is how many of my current clients, whether it be an individual client or a business client or corporate client that I have, how many are giving us referrals?
Mm-hmm. That's a
And
good
if
metric.
people are, yeah, yeah, instead of like how many sales, this and that, because then that goes from, top down, right? Like how many
Right.
what percentage of our current clients are referring us? And if it's really high, it's high. And I'm really proud of that because that's one of the main ways that we get referrals. So thank you for sharing that. I have not actually read that book, so I'm definitely going to check that one out. Can you tell us about something that's really important to us within our company is taking care of ourselves? Can you tell us about something that you do each day, whether that be mentally, physically, spiritually, or maybe within your relationships that you do each day to care for yourself?
I try to exert myself some way physically, and some days that just means playing really hard with my son, like on the trampoline, or him jumping on me and us wrestling, or going to the gym. I try to get to the gym. I work out at F45, which is a rigorous 45-minute workout, and I try to get there 3 to 5 days a week to push myself to a limit that I feel like I can't achieve, but then I do, and then I know that was really just a mental block in my head, and it really allows me to open up for other things too. And then I have a gratitude journal. I try to write in at least every day, sometimes multiple times a day if I feel it, but at least once a day. And then spending time with family, really just trying to be present, blocking out all the other noise in your head when your day to day is kind of just constantly filled with, almost like you're in a 10-lane traffic and you're just going against it, and it's just constantly flying by you. That's how my day feels like, at least. And so when I go to put myself out of that day and be present with my son, my daughter, my wife, and be in that moment, all of that traffic almost goes away.
Can you give us a tip on that? Have you always been able to block that out and be fully present? And if not, like what are some of the things that you do? I know for many people that are leaders or entrepreneurs, it can be challenging for them to be fully present. I remember many a times we had a family young, and I remember, like, I can envision it in my head right now, sitting down at our square dinner table that we had and eating dinner together. It was always like a highlight. And I was so proud that we would be eating home cooked food and we were all there, the four of us together. But you know what? I wasn't always fully present.
Mm.
My mind wasn't always fully present. My body was there, but that doesn't mean anything. And I missed out on a lot of opportunity to really connect meaningfully because I was always thinking of the next thing that I needed to do. Do you have any tips for us to where you were able to get to that space?
It's a choice. It's not a daily activity like you're just constantly thinking, be present, be present, be present. No, your mind's like spinning like a hamster wheel. It's a choice. Just like I choose to go to the gym, I push myself to go and be there at that moment in time. I have to say the same thing when it comes to being present. That means silencing my phone or putting it somewhere really far away where I'm not touching it, and just being in the moment, not thinking about things. It's a choice. I'm actively
Mm.
making that choice.
Mm. I love how simple you just made that for us, because oftentimes we think, oh, I need to write out my to-do list beforehand. I need to like do all these 5,000 things in order to be able to be present, but it's simply just a choice. And I was just talking about this earlier, like the 3 C's in life. In order to really grow and learn, we all have choices that we can make to take a chance in order to make a change.
Yes,
And you just
exactly.
said, like, make the choice to be present with your family, to take a chance to be fully present, to maybe take a chance to miss an email and have to respond tomorrow, which it will be there tomorrow, to be able to change how you feel and how you interact with the people that you love the most, because often people are going home and they don't have anything left.
Yeah, and just
So,
like anything in life, takes time and practice. It's not going to happen immediately, and some it
mhm,
just takes longer. But being able to tell yourself that I can do this, like making your bed, I can do this, do it. Going and eating the right thing, I can do this, do it. I'm going to be present with my family for this period of time. I can do this, do it. It's
mhm.
all the choices.
And I love that you said that, because oftentimes we try to do too many things at one time. And to simplify it even more, if we just tell ourselves, like what you just said, is I am present, I'm a person that shows up with presence, then I do. What do? I make the choice to be present in the moments that matter the most. And we tell ourselves that over and over again, then it just becomes part of our everyday. And then you
Hmm.
can add the next thing. I love that you said that. Well, one of the reasons I was so interested in having you on the podcast is because first of all, I'm pretty much obsessed with my ion bottle since you sent it to me. So
Awesome.
I love it. And for many people that know, that listen to this podcast, or maybe if it's your first time, is health is extremely important to me. It's one of the values of our company. We know that you can only reach your dreams and goals to the level that your health can take it. And so I'm always looking for ways to optimize my health, because I know that if I optimize my health, I can show up the best for myself, for God, my family, and for my opportunity to serve, and how I'm showing up within my business and for my team. And I also know, and I've learned over the years, that plain tap water is not that great. So we need to be filtering our water. We need to stop drinking out of, like, say, like plastic
Hmm.
or plastic water bottles. But your water bottles really take it to the next level.
Hmm.
It's really for the health conscious people who want to optimize their health and take everything to the next level. So I've noticed since I started using it that my recovery is so much better. And when I
That's
say
awesome.
recovery, I mean recovery from my workouts, and my sleep is better. So I actually track my HRV, and it actually helps with my sleep quality. Like my REM sleep is better, which has been so interesting when you just have one new input, the water bottle,
Hmm.
and how it can change so much. And I just like it because it's fun and it looks cool and it's fun to carry around.
It is kind of cool, right?
It is really cool. Um, but the thing is, the story behind how you came up with this business, and it's so successful now, and it's helping so many people. But can you just take us back a little bit and share with us, because your story of not only being resilient, but we were talking about this before we hopped on the podcast, this idea of anti-fragility, which really means is sometimes when we think of resiliency, we think of just like enduring.
Hmm.
But do we just want to endure? No, we want to actually enjoy life, even in the face of challenge. Like, show up each and every day and enjoy life. And I
Yeah.
think that your story really proves that. So can you take us back a little bit in your story and on how this all came about?
I mean, how far back do you want me to go? My story started a long time ago when my mom and dad divorced, and how I was feeling back then to being the only boy in my mom and two sisters' life. There was a lot of anti-fragility that had to happen to be that person in that life.
Mm-hmm.
Especially far away from my dad. I didn't really have a relationship with my dad. I saw him for a couple weeks of summer every year, and being raised by different, I tell myself today, I feel like I was raised by the dad from Family Matters, the Tim Allen from Home Improvements, yeah, the Full House dads, the whole suite of dads from the era of 1990s to 2000. I feel like those dads gave me a lot of morals and ethics that I believe today. But the real meat and potatoes that you're looking for is how I created this business from basically being laid off in 2020 when the pandemic hit. I was employed, great career on this path for success. Almost every career I had, it was a step up from where I started as a tech support agent out of college to where I ended as a business development manager for a big a national corporation that was publicly traded, making six figures. And it felt like, I was on this trajectory and I could just keep going. And I knew it was just decisions I made and the mindset I had versus some of the people that I was associated with or have associated myself with that didn't have the same mindset of I can do better or I want to grow. And so when I got laid off from the pandemic, they laid off 80% of my coworkers. The business was not going to succeed if they kept those people on because there was so much questions of what was going to happen. And at that moment in time, I said, I don't want to be beholden to another person, somebody signing a paycheck of mine, somebody saying, you have a job, you're going to get paid, you can keep your home. That's up to them. That's not up to me at that point. That's up to them. Um, and so I said, I'm done with that. I want to be the person that's controlling my financial freedom, my financial future, which means in control of my life in some way. And I started just looking and looking around on the internet, because I had the mindset of like, I want to create something. I don't want it to be my full-time job. I don't want to create a 9 to 5. I don't want to go purchase a car wash and go out there and start car washing all these cars because I could do that, but that's not the lifestyle I want. The lifestyle I wanted was the family, freedom, financial freedom, being present, being able to take care of what I want to take care of when I want to take care of it, not reliant on having to be somewhere. So I had to come up with some kind of concept. And back when I was a kid, being like again, stay single boy in my family, I had a lot of alone time. My sisters were French; they had their girl time with my mom, and I had my time just being on a computer. And I learned how to code websites. I learned how to potentially make money from the internet. I was selling a web hosting services when I'm 15 years old, and I learned slowly through just some forums like how to do this. Put that all aside after college and getting a career. I knew I had that skill. I knew I had this drive of entrepreneurship stuffed down deep. And it wasn't until the pandemic thrusted me forward off of this cliff and said, you better fly or you're going to go back to where you were. So I said, I'm going to choose to fly. And I probably watched 1,000 hours of YouTube content from every single thing, from Cody Sanchez to Jim Rohn, and just listening and motivating myself in certain ways to just make that decision that there's a lot of courage behind becoming an entrepreneur and jumping off that cliff and choosing to make your destiny. And what that path was going to look like was so uncertain. But I knew that I had that history of making money on the internet. And I knew that money on the internet almost had like an unlimited number. You can go and purchase yourself a little, laundromat, and you have a certain cap you can reach. You have so much square footage of so much you can put into that laundromat and so much dollars you could charge to your customers. You have a cap. With the internet, there's almost no cap. There's 8 billion people in this world, and I can sell to 22 different countries right now, and I could basically uncap that. That's awesome. So I went that route. Spent a lot of time learning about methods of fulfillment, because you can go and purchase stuff here locally and sell it online. That's fine. Make a little margin. Or you can go to the supplier directly and make a lot of margin. I like that route better. So I learned through mistakes, starting with the supplier's chain all the way down the line, buying from them and learning how that's really bad to buying direct and learning how you can customize things, make things better, improve on them, because this manufacturer is the one who's making them. And I started doing that. And that's where it just trajectory went like a rocket ship upward. And then I started developing and learning, because customer feedback loop super important. If you're not listening to your customers, you're just kind of throwing shit out there and just hoping, throwing stuff out there that you're hoping is going to work. And if it doesn't work, then you're just kind of wasting your money and time. But if you're listening to your customers and giving them almost exactly what they want in a way, it's a win-win. You gave a customer a product that they wanted, and you have more demand for that product now. So listen to the customer's feedback and do what they want. And that's really, again, a trajectory rocket ship that's been helping this business grow and grow and grow.
Wow. Okay. There's so many. We're going to dive into this a little bit more, but I was taking notes, and what I want people to hear is that one of the things that you had that made you successful from the start was you had a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. Instead of being laid off and saying like, oh, woe's me, what am I going to do? The pandemic is so hard, taking up some of the government assistance, living off whatever it was, to let me dive in and let me go to my tool bag, because we all have these tool bags that we get in life, and there are skills that we learned. And you remembered, oh yeah, I have that skill. I haven't used it in quite a while. And I'm sure that many of our listeners, and myself included, we have skills that we haven't tapped back into because of the current thing that we're doing. But what if we were able to tap back into that skill set? What would be possible for us? And before you did anything, you understood the life that you really want to live. Now, this is the piece that I think most people miss, is dreaming about the lifestyle that you want to have and allowing that to help create the vision of where you want to go. Because a lot of people get into a business and realize that they want out of it because they don't have the lifestyle, or they're working so hard to try to get the lifestyle, but they've learned all these negative patterns and different things and ways of operating that just are not conducive to that. But then again, listening to the customer. You talked about listening to the customer and taking feedback and constant improvement, which is so important in today's market, no matter if you're selling to a consumer, selling to a business, you have a product, or you have a service. If you're not constantly improving, then you're going to get left by the wayside. I think and I'd love your take on this, and I want to dive then into your story a little bit more. But one of the things that I see happen often now is just mediocre service. And this is across the board. And it became very prevalent when people started blaming their level of service, like in the service industry. Oh, it's because of the pandemic. Okay, we're a number of years removed from that. So what are you going to do? It's not about, like, if you're a hotel, revamping your rooms. It's pouring into your staff. It's bringing up those levels of customer experience, and not being okay with having mediocre service, not being okay with having mediocre products. And that's one of the things I love about your Ion bottles, is that you're constantly improving them. What is your take on mediocre versus improving?
I mean, that's a whole philosophical question that we can run for hours on.
What do you see right now, just in the marketplace or maybe in the community?
Oh man, I've seen this just recently. I'll give you a quick rundown of this one. American culture versus people who have not lived here and have come here recently. I hired two different companies. I have a house that I'm getting customized and made, and I have an asphalt driveway I need poured, very big, very long, very steep. And then I have an interior home that I'm getting remodeled and stuff. Not that hard, but work. This American company is like, we'll give you this bid for this interior work. It's going to take X amount of months. It's going to do this much costs. And we don't know how much, blah, blah, blah. The guy that's on the exterior doing the asphalt driveway gave me a straight bid, gave me a straight direct answer of how quickly it's going to get done, and then put 12 hours a day to getting it done. It was night and day difference between the work ethic on him, who came, I think he was from Colombia, like from South America somewhere. And he and his brother were there from 7 a.m. in the morning till 9 p.m. at night, every day for 4 days straight, to make this perfect. And they didn't ask for a lot more. Like, they realized this was a bigger job than they took on, but they didn't come begging for more. They didn't come like the person on the inside who's lived here in the country for the last 35, 40 years, come say, oh, it's going to take more time, sir. This is a little bit more project, my team. No, they didn't come for that. There was just, we told you the project's going to get done in a time frame. We will be here until it gets done. There's a level of work ethic. And I think that's just kind of gone down. And I've seen it a lot in service industries across the board here in America since the pandemic. And it is almost like an excuse. It's like, oh, the pandemic caused us to lose staff and not be able to do this much. We're 2024 now. Get back to where you were 2019. Like, you could do that. It's not impossible. You're supposed to keep stepping it up, not go the other way. As a business development manager for BBSI, I learned just talking to these customers and these businesses that we were operating with them. If you plateau in a business, you're basically on the level of death for the business, because that plateau is on the start of the decline. If you're not continuously trying to find your way to keep going up, you basically starting to find your way down. And then on the way down, that's the inevitable death of a business.
Yeah, I'm in such agreement with that. I recently read a book that takes things to the next level, and it's about the hospitality, the restaurant industry, but it's unreasonable hospitality. So I highly recommend that book for people if people think that maybe they're on the mediocre or on the way down. I think it's really important. But also on a personal note, I think Tony Robbins says that if you're not growing, then you're dying. And so it's the same thing with our businesses. If our business isn't finding a way to grow, and maybe that's growing our staff, which in turn will grow our revenue. Whatever it is, like we always have to be growing for sure. So with your company, starting out, like, how did you start out? What was the growth trajectory like? Tell us about like some of those tough times that you had, and how you took action in the face of those challenges.
Yeah, the anti-fragility was coming to play every day with me. Every day. Like, oh, so let's just put yourself in this picture. Start a business in the middle of the pandemic, May of 2020. Right? You're like, everybody's not sure what's going on. My wife was working in healthcare, but she was like on this A/B schedule where they had if the whole staff was 20 people, they had 10 people on this week, 10 people on this week to keep, cross contamination down. There was so much uncertainty at that period of time. Nobody knew what to do. This was even before we were masking up every day. And I'm like, I applied probably the 200 plus places that were hiring at the time on Indeed and different places that I got callbacks, got second interviews, but nobody was hiring. It was almost like they were getting more money for just looking like they were hiring. I don't know. But at that point, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I got to buckle down. That's where I said, when I'm going to start my own business, and I learned about it. And I said, what is it going to take? I was raising my son. He was 1 year old at the time. This was 2020. He was born in 2019. My wife was going to work from 8 a.m., 7:30 till 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. And it's me and my son at home. And I'm like applying to jobs, doing interviews, but also starting my side business, my now business. It was daddy by day, husband by afternoon and evening, an entrepreneur by night. I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning for months working on that, and then going to bed at 3:30, 3:45, waking up at 6:30, 7 o'clock, being with my son, taking care of him and his needs, trying to do all this stuff throughout the day, keeping the house up, keeping dinners up, all of that stuff. And it was really tough. The anti-fragility in me, it's like I got punched everywhere, but I never got knocked down. There was days though I would be, the business is starting to grow. I'm starting to make money. I see the light almost at the end of the tunnel, but then something happens. The credit limit hits, or the problem with the vendor, something happens, and it just completely derails it for a little period. But at that point in time, I haven't figured out this experience of how this business runs yet. So I'm like gut punched to my stomach, crying in the bathroom, in the shower, just feeling like this hopelessness that all this weight is on me to create this future for my family. My wife's business, like going to work, was bringing enough to pay for like our health insurance and some food. But there was like that, it almost felt like a train, and you think of a long track and there's a wall at the end. It almost
Mm.
felt like that train was going to just one day hit that wall. I never wanted that train to ever hit that wall, so I never let it get to the point where it got close enough. It always felt like I was keeping that track moving. And now it's like 10,000 miles long. It's grown so fast and so far because of that anti-fragility mindset that every day I try to get a little better, a little 1% better. So every night I would tinker, figure out what I was doing wrong, because I would test throughout the day, right? I'd launch ads at night, and in the day it would turn on and the ads would run through Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all that. And I would see them working throughout the day. And then at the nighttime, I'd tweak them, change them, make them better, launch them again, tweak them, make them, change them better. There was then days there was like, oh my God, cha-ching, 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 launch that one. I remember scaling. We were going to a picnic at my aunt's house, and we were selling these inflatable swimming pools. This is the early days, not ion bottles. I was selling inflatable swimming pools June and July of 2020. It was really hot that summer, and people were on lockdown, so they couldn't get like these things in their home. I was able to buy them overseas, ship them directly to their home, and keep a profit margin. There was a day that I remember going to that picnic, and I listened to my phone. I had to turn off my volume because it was just cha-ching, 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 just constant. And it was like people were just got that ad hit the right algorithm, and it hit the right people, and people were just buying, 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 getting that pool. And I have to now, and my mindset was like, great, this is awesome. Numbers are going up. But then that brings a whole lot of more problems. Fulfillment times, making sure quality control is there, making sure customer service is there, making sure all of this is all there. Not to mention the financials of, I was maxing out two $20,000 credit cards a week to pay for that fulfillment inventory, to then pay that credit card off and then turn around and do it again the next week. And it was just all this going back to the anti-fragility. If I was fragile, if any point of me could have broke during that period, and sure, it felt like it did, but it wasn't broken. It was just knocked down for a second, or hit a little harder than I felt normally. But I was able to recover and learn from it. If I didn't learn from it, then I'm just going to keep doing it myself to keep repeating it. But every time I learn from my failures, I try to make less and less failures, or at least more cost-effective failures, that became way easier to manage. And then I started seeing the profits come in and grow faster and faster because I'm making less mistakes for less money.
I love that part of your story. It's about taking a risk, right? And going all in on something. Just think if you were going all in on 6 things. I see this problem a lot. Where do you think you'd be today if you were trying to go all in on like a multitude of things? People say, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. What if you just got really good and got known for one thing versus going all in on, or because you can't go all in on 6 things. That's not really a possibility. But now, though, that you have this company, Ion Bottles, and it's successful, now you went from the first model. Tell us about the progression from the first model to listening to your customer feedback, and now you have alternative models and things that you can offer because you went all in on the first thing.
Yeah, so I went all in on the first one because the idea came to me. I was looking through some of the websites that are available to browse, and I said, this looks like a really interesting product that offers a health benefit, but I haven't seen really nobody marketing it. This is not available in Targets, it's not available in Costco's yet, but really don't see it marketed too well. So I said, this is something I want to try. I bought one myself, tried it, loved it. I got to now iterate from this. I got to create something better from this because this is not the best one. And so the original model, we've changed now 6 different times to the latest model today, over the customer feedback loop, hearing what they said. They wanted more power in the bottle. They wanted it to have more volume in the bottle. They wanted to release more concentration of hydrogen. And all of those things, just iteration over the last 4 years, gave us the ability to develop and lead in a way this industry. The brand sets itself apart. Now we have so many people trying to copycat and duplicate what we're doing because they're seeing us as the industry leader. I bet at this 4 years, I have a group now over almost 10,000 people on Facebook that are giving us that constant feedback saying, we love your product and here's why, or we don't like this and here's why. Just really listening to the customers and iterating and growing and not thinking that this is it. This is the best you can be, because that's not true. You can get a little bit better, 1% better. Every day is possible. And that's kind of like the mindset I live by. I want to be a little bit better, because if I don't, what's the competition going to do? They're going to come and try to be a little bit better than me too.
I love that so much. And that's why you're the industry leader, and congratulations on that. And for those of you that are listening, you're like, wait, doesn't water already have hydrogen in it? Yes. But here's the brilliance behind this bottle, behind ion bottles, is the hydrogen is so rich that it actually is more accessible to your cells. So it penetrates even better, and it acts as a really, really powerful antioxidant, and it really just surpasses anything that you could do with just regular water, because it's more accessible to your cells. It reduces inflammation, it boosts your energy levels. I am a testament to better recovery, improving athletic performance, improving my sleep. And so just like anything, just like when you eat food, if you're eating mediocre food, it's not going to be as bioavailable to your cells as if you're eating very quality food that is bioavailable and your body can absorb it. So if you think of it like top of the line water for your body, so it's not going to be it's for everyone, but if you are a health conscious person and want to achieve really optimal health, and that's what you're going for, this bottle is for you. Do you have anything you want to add to that? I just wanted to put in, I believe in it so much. I use it every day. And so I want to put in a plug for the things that I love and use every day. Anything that you want to add to that, Bobby, that your customers give feedback on?
Are you back?
Yep, there I am.
Okay.
Okay. So I just asked if I don't know what happened there, if there was anything that you wanted to add to that or give feedback on.
Sure. Yeah. So molecular hydrogen, which is what these bottles create, is they release the H2 from the O in the H2O, and it uses electrolysis here in the bottom, and it's pressurized, so it creates the ability to go up to about 5,000 parts per billion of hydrogen gas. And what that works as is a reduction oxygen species in our body. It goes to fight the inflammation that we create in our body almost every day through our food, antibiotics, alcohol, whatever we're doing to causing inflammation in our body. Regular water doesn't go to work to do that. You have to hydrate your cells, which is what regular water does. This is like a boost of hydration. This is giving you the water, but it's also giving you the molecular hydrogen gas, which is then the antioxidant in your body, which then reduces the oxidative stress in your body, which helps fight inflammation. Very vital. We're just now learning more about the benefits. There's over 1,500 studies that have been done on molecular hydrogen across the world, and the benefits that they offer are now becoming more and more prevalent as we're releasing these products to the masses. Before, it was kind of for the healthcare industry. They were using it in hospital settings, but they weren't allowing, or not allowing, but the technology wasn't there to have this available to everybody. And now that the technology has become pretty prevalent and available and affordable, buying one of these bottles, you can last for years, and you can get that same molecular hydrogen benefit that you can get in a medical setting at home.
I love that so much, because inflammation is the precursor to pretty much every known disease. And so anything that we can do to decrease inflammation, because if people think about it, inflammation is happening all the time. When we work out, our bodies become inflamed. Mm-hmm. When we're doing some of the good things that we're doing, when we do work that we love because we're raising our cortisol in our body, it's causing inflammation. And it's not that it's necessarily bad, but it's always inflammation, because then we have other chronic stressors, life and toxins and food and all these things that are happening in our environments every day. That it just makes such a huge difference. So I wanted to make sure that we told everybody about the bottles and what they were. But going back to your story, so now you've kind of taken us through like there was some ups and downs and like the realistic thing, like max out the card to pay it off, to do it again, to, and like you're on this train track. And so now you're on the track and you're like Amtrak now.
Yeah,
So
cruising.
you're cruising right now, but also you're looking for ways to improve the client experience. You're looking for ways to improve the bottle, improve the technology. But what about the stressors for you as an entrepreneur? We all know as our businesses grow, normally there's more stressors. What kind of things do you have in place and like specific systems or things that you rely on so that when things are happening at home, like you mentioned that you're redoing a home and your attention needs to be placed there, that you can step away and your business can still thrive. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I in the beginning, those first few years was just me and me and me, and so it was hard to figure out when could I take time away from it, which was never. It was almost like I constantly had my phone on, or I constantly had my laptop on, or I constantly was worrying about something because I was responding to every single customer myself. And then so I started learning through other mentors and other groups I was participating in, which is key. If you're going to start anything, get yourself a mentor in that field, and put yourself aligned with people in that field in the group so you're hearing what they're saying. So you're not just by yourself in this little box trying to figure it all out. So I learned that there are things called virtual assistants. There are people out there that want to remotely help you out, and they'll be on from a certain time to a certain time, and they're very affordable. So I started hiring remote virtual assistants, and I started training them on what I needed them to do. And there was the failures and successes here and there, but now we're cruising. I got 3 of them. They know the business ins and outs. I could step away now for literally a week or 2, and they could do everything that I need to be done. And I can come back and it's like I was never gone.
So good. So what I want everybody to hear is that at first you were doing it all alone, and then you realized you need to get around other people that have already done it, or doing it, or on a similar growth trajectory as you, to really be like that catalyst to really amplify and go to the next level. And so you learned that you're like, okay, I can do this. I can afford a virtual assistant. And it's really cool how you have your business model set up. And I want everybody to hear this, because whether you have, like, if you have a service-based business or other online business, that it's a product business, is we often think we have to hire staff and we have to grow, and we hear the word scale all the time. And something that I've realized for my company that is going to just really be the thing that we're going with, as far as not necessarily hiring on staff, but I hire as everybody is independent contractors. So I have a team of coaches that get to do their own thing, but when we have opportunities, they're presented and they get to pick if they want to work with that client or that corporation or do this project. And I pay people per project. Now, I do have an assistant that work with me all the time, and some people that work with me consistently each month for the podcast, but all the people are independent contractors, but I treat them like employees.
Mm-hmm.
I treat them with kindness, and I involve them in our mission and our vision. When we start doing a new assessment for our team, everybody gets to take the assessment and learn about each other and learn why this person's good over here and this person's good over here, and how we can communicate better. So we're still operating as a team, but for my business, I'm not taking on that overhead and that overhead expense of payroll. And I don't have that stress of, do I have to make payroll, because it's per project basis.
Right.
Project comes in, income comes in. So I just want to shift the mindset of some people. If you still have that old school mindset, which I don't think there's anything wrong with hiring staff either, and some businesses actually do require that. But in order to scale, you don't have to. And I love that. And I love that you shared that. So what about family life now? So I don't really believe in balance, right? I think it's work life integration based on your season of life. And what you just said was, for the first few years, it was integrated, almost all working.
Mm-hmm.
But you wouldn't change it now. But you know what? Yo, go ahead.
Yeah, it was definitely the majority of the beginning years were spent where I was not focused at the family mostly. It was focused on the business, right? So
Hmm.
I was there, but I wasn't there. And that's
Right.
not the best place to be. I knew I didn't want to continue that. I knew that I had a goal of almost like this. Imagine this. You don't have to work, but you just have money, right?
Hmm.
That's like almost like the it's
Yeah.
weird how that's a dream, but it's like that's a dream. I will never have to work, but I just have money. It's like the heiress to a fortune, but I don't have an heiress to a fortune. I have a business that I'm creating, and it's not fortunes. It's enough to feel successful and feel like I'm achieving what I wanted to set out to achieve, and I'm helping people at the same time. So I'm helping people. It's like this full circle where I'm helping people, they're helping me. I'm helping people, they're helping me. I'm feeling good about it, but really it was the beginning months or the years that really set me up for where I'm at today, where I can spend an hour or two to talk to you on this podcast, and I could then go from here to the gym if I want to, or I can go check on the project. I don't have to go sit in front of an office or be at a certain meeting or do something for that time frame to make the money. um, I stopped thinking my time is worth $15 an hour, and I started thinking my time is worth thousands of dollars an hour, and I need to create that mindset of like the money will come and flow through me. It's not just coming to me and holding on to it and whatever. It's going to flow. It's going to come to me, but then I don't want to hold on to it too long. I want to help the next in line. If I'm buying from their services, or I'm buying a product, or I'm investing it to this, I want it to be able to flow through me, almost like a tool in my life. Money's
Mhm.
not supposed to sit on me and weigh on me. It's supposed to be a tool in my life, because every day that we get to live on this earth um, should be taken with a bunch of gratefulness and happiness and lucky and feeling all of this. Um, and if I sit on this money and I think, oh, that's what's going to create my happiness, that's going to create my success, when it's flowing through me, which everybody has had times of money flowing through them, that you can't just let that be your metric for success. It's got to be in the mind of like, what else is out there? Your family, your health, your friendships, all of those things are metrics for success. The money's going to keep flowing through you throughout the next 40, 50 years of your life. So to sit on that and think that that's a success metric is almost like futile. You're not going to get there.
Hmm. What a mic drop moment. I want everybody to go ahead and rewind that, because it's so, so important. And I love that you're going to be with us at the Amplify Your Life Growth Summit. One of the speakers are presenting a workshop on how to make your leadership a legacy, like how to build legacy versus just make money. And whatever amount of money you're making, you can build legacy. And it's just so, so important, because one of the things that go back to the research that's done about people feeling fulfilled at the end of their life is that they did something that was purposeful. And whether that's a multi-seven-figure business like yours, whether that's being a teacher and making a salary of 50,000, whatever it is, if it's purposeful, then you can build legacy, and that's how you show up. And what Ooh, I almost just got teared up. And what you just said was how you show up with generosity, with a heart. And I'm just so grateful that we have this connection and you're willing to be who you are and show up and share that with all of us today on the podcast.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I want everybody to hear that it took hard work and it took that resilience, but that anti-fragile part is so important, because life is not just about enduring. It's about taking action in the face of challenge and not giving up, and then reaching out and surrounding ourselves with other people. And when we do start something, we need to constantly improve it, whether that be our leadership ourselves, whether that be our teams and how they're showing up, whether that be our products. It's a constant growth process. And you said something, you're like, I hadn't figured out how to deliver the experience that I wanted to, or how this was going to run yet. And I love that. If we can make more of our interactions daily, personal interactions and business dealings, not just transactional, but relational, and make them into experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to that book that you talked about, that's how you build raving fans. That's how you build brand advocates. And that's how you build deep, meaningful relationships that we all want in our life, both personally and professionally. And you're a true testament to all of that. And I just thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Of course. Very happy to be on here. Thank you.
So tell us, so if they can't make it in person to see you and to meet you at the Amplify Your Life Growth Summit in Bend, Oregon, September 20th and 21st, where can we find one of your bottles? How can we connect with you? Tell us all the details.
Sure. You can find our website, ionbottles.com, IONBOTTLES, or you can reach on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. If you just go on LinkedIn and search for Bobby Samai, you'll find me, and just connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'd love to chat with you.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Bobby.
Of course. Thanks, Carmen, for having me.